Since the appearance of the first predatory animals on our planet, the struggle for the title of the most dangerous creature began. This race continued after life reached land, but some animals decided that they should begin to explore the airspace. After this, the struggle for the upper levels of the food pyramid also spread to the sky. And today, we'll talk about those animals that became the real masters of the sky of their time. Subscribe to our channel so you'll know about the release of new videos before others. We also encourage all our viewers to actively support the Age of Dinosaurs channel with likes and comments. This will help in the development of the channel and will allow our releases to be seen by as many users as possible. The first animals that began to explore the airspace were arthropods. And among them, undoubtedly, the most formidable predator was the giant dragonfly, Meganora. According to various estimates, its wingspan reached 60 to 70 centimeters. In earlier studies, this parameter was estimated even at 1 meter. For the Carboniferous period, this flying predator was a real monster. Although debates about the lifestyle, diet, and other behavioral features of the Meganora are still ongoing, there's also a lot of controversy about the size of insects of that time. Some scientists express the opinion that with such dimensions, Meganora simply could not fly. But don't forget that 300 million years ago, the oxygen content in the atmosphere was much higher. The primitive respiratory system of insects could work much more efficiently than it does now. In addition, we only know about Meganora from imprints on fossils, and some details of the structure of their body may be unknown to modern scientists. The habitat of these giant dragonflies was humid jungles and wetlands. Moreover, scientists are not entirely sure whether the Meganora larvae led an aquatic lifestyle, like modern dragonflies, but data suggests that the larvae were large in size, had a high speed of movement, and were no less voracious than adults. And given the size of this dragonfly, its prey wasn't just only other insects. It's quite possible that the Meganora's diet included small fish and amphibians. Gradually, arthropods began to lose their leading position, and in the Permian period, animal lizards began to move to the first positions. The most advanced group of that time were the synapsids. They became the ancestors of dinosaurs, crocodiles, and other reptiles. And it was among the synapsids that the first reptiles appeared and began to master flight. These pioneers were the Argentavis. The first fossils of these unusual lizards were discovered in Germany. Similar finds were also made in Madagascar, the British Isles, and Russia. Many parts of the body of Argentavis were arranged almost the same as those of modern lizards, but in addition, they had a unique mechanism, which scientists call a flying membrane. This is the first that this device has been found. The flying membrane consisted of sets of side rods connected by membranes. Recent studies show that in their structure, these outgrowths are osteoderms and resemble elements of the shell of modern crocodiles. Of course, with the help of such a simple mechanism, it was impossible to fly in the full sense of the word. Most likely, Argentavis only glided from one tree to another. The real masters of the sky appeared on Earth only with the advent of the era of dinosaurs. They became Terrasaurs, a group of flying lizards related to dinosaurs. Most of them ate exclusively fish, but among them, at different times, truly gigantic creatures still appeared. Some of them should be discussed in more detail. Dimorphodon. The increase in the size of flying lizards was gradual, and the largest of them appeared closer to the end of the Cretaceous period. Therefore, Dimorphodon and its relatives can be considered the lords of the sky of the early Jurassic period. The name of this pterosaur means two kinds of teeth. The name was given to it in 1859 by naturalist Richard Owen. Since the division of teeth according to shape and purpose is extremely uncharacteristic for reptiles, the body length of Dimorphodon was about 1 meter, and the wingspan was about 145 centimeters. Caelesthaventus. In 2018, an even earlier representative of the Dimorphodondid family was described. The celestial's beak contained teeth of as many as 3 different types. This pterosaur, large by Triassic standards, lived in the state of Utah in the USA. Its wingspan was about 1.5 meters. Like other members of the family, the Caelesthaventus had an elongated skull with a large beak. Their nostrils were triangular in shape and located close to their eyes. It was also one of the few pterosaurs that could look forward rather than to the sides. Rhamphorhynchus. The niche now occupied by seabirds like gulls was occupied by Rhamphorhynchus in the Jurassic. It's believed that this family included 3 species: but some scientists express the opinion that all the found remains could belong to representatives of the same species of different ages. There are studies confirming this hypothesis for Rhamphorhynchus found in Germany. Also, traces of the presence of these pterosaurs have been found almost throughout Europe and North Africa. They lived from 162 to 145 million years ago. The wingspan of the largest individuals could reach almost 2 meters. Like all piscivorous pterosaurs, Rhamphorhynchus had an elongated beak with sharp, long teeth. A distinctive feature of this family was a long tail with a diamond-shaped tassel at the end. Pterodactyl. This species of flying lizard became the first pterosaur discovered in the history of science. 2 separate finds were made in Germany at the end of the 18th century. At different times, these fossils were attributed either to flying creatures, then to extinct crustaceans, or to winged mammals like bats. Over the next 200 years, all pterosaurs found were classified as pterodactyls. The approach to their classification changed only at the beginning of the 20th century. At the moment, only 2 species are considered pterodactyls. These small pterosaurs were distributed throughout Europe and Africa during the Jurassic period, approximately 150 to 165 million years ago. The wingspan of the largest of them reached 1 meter, and the body length did not exceed 60 centimeters. They weighed no more than 2 kilograms. And the largest flying creatures of the era of dinosaurs, and indeed the entire history of the planet, belonged to the Azhdarchid family and lived at the end of the Cretaceous period. It's still a mystery to many how these giants were able to fly at all, but it's very likely that even with their enormous size, all giant pterosaurs had very small, relative to size, mass. The largest representatives of this family were the following animals. Troposaurus. This is a separate genus of pterosaurs from the Ornithoceridae family. It was discovered less than 40 years ago in Brazil. The age of the find dates back to the beginning of the Cretaceous period, approximately 110 million years ago. So far, only one species is classified as Troposaurus. Its wingspan definitely exceeded 8 meters, and the height of this lizard could reach 170 centimeters. According to some estimates, Troposaurus could weigh up to 100 kilograms. Therefore, it's believed that they could take off only after a short run. Troposaurus had a rather interestingly shaped beak. At its end, there were large vertical thickenings. This peculiar keel gave the name to this pterosaur. Literally, it translates as keel jaw. Scientists believe that Troposaurus hunted by dipping its beak into the water while flying. The presence of a keel prevented the beak from yawning along the course. Inside its mouth were thin, sharp teeth, perfectly adapted for catching and holding fish. But perhaps Troposaurus did not disdain baby dinosaurs and other small land animals. Thanatos dragon. This pterosaur is considered the largest flying creature in the history of South America. Its name means dragon of death. The species name of this lizard also contains the name of the ancient god of the Peruvian Indians, Amaru. The remains of 2 individuals of the new pterosaur were discovered in Argentina in 2022. After studying them, the wingspan of this giant was estimated at 7 to 9, and its height was 3.5 meters. The fossils found are very fragmentary. Therefore, scientists know very little about Thanatos dragons so far. The age of the finds estimated at approximately 86 to 89 million years. Quetzalcoatlus. This genus from the Azhdarchid family was discovered and described much earlier than most of its relatives. Therefore, it is the best known and most studied of them. They lived in North America around 66 to 68 million years ago. The first fossilized remains of Quetzalcoatlus were found in the United States in 1971. Initially, its wingspan was estimated at 15 to 20 meters, but later studies showed that this parameter was no more than 11 to 12 meters. But even so, this lizard became the largest flying creature in the history of the planet. While on land, Quetzalcoatlus had a height comparable to modern giraffes. This is about 5.5 meters. The most heated debate is still ongoing over the body mass of this giant. Various researchers voice figures from 70 to 540 kilograms. Built in 1984, the flying model weighed about 80 kilograms. This aircraft was created to simulate the flight of Quetzalcoatlus. It was controlled by a simple computer autopilot and showed good aerodynamic capabilities of large pterosaurs. But still, most scientists agree that in order to fly, such giants needed a runway or a high launch pad, a rock or a large tree. Cryodragon. This species of pterosaur lived in what is now Canada, approximately 76.5 million years ago. It was for this reason that they were given a family name, meaning frosty or ice dragon. The specific name Boreas is the name of the ancient Greek god of the north wind. Also, when describing and choosing the name of a new species from the Azhdarchid family, an option was considered to call it Cryodragon Viserys. This was the name of one of the dragons in the series of books by George R.R. Martin and the TV series Game of Thrones based on them. It was this dragon that was killed by the Night King and turned into an ice one. The remains of this giant lizard were discovered back in 1972, but then they were described as just another Quetzalcoatl. The error was corrected only in 2019, when a group of scientists re-examined the find. As a result, several differences between the cryodragon and its related Quetzalcoatlus were discovered. The wingspan of the found individual was about 5 meters, but scientists believe this pterosaur was not yet fully grown. It's believed that its maximum wingspan could be approximately 2 times greater, and adult ice dragons could weigh up to 250 kilograms. Aab Turx. This large European pterosaur was related to Quetzalcoatlus. It lived in Romania at the very end of the Cretaceous period. In terms of wingspan, Aab Turx is quite comparable to its overseas relative, but their height was slightly shorter due to their shorter and more powerful neck. This feature of the body may also indicate differences in the way of nutrition. With such a body structure, this predator could hunt not only fish and small animals, but large dinosaurs could also be prey. Aramburgiana. This type of pterosaur was discovered in the early 40s of the last century, but scientists currently have very few fossils to describe it in detail. Initial studies showed that the wingspan of this lizard was even greater than that of the Quetzalcoatlus, but later descriptions reduced the size to just about 7 to 9 meters. Undoubtedly, Azhdarchids are the largest flying creatures in the entire history of the Earth, but at the same time, creatures such as Pteranodon lived with them and competed with them. These piscivorous pterosaurs lived in the United States and Japan. Their wingspan couldn't exceed 7 meters. The main distinguishing feature of this group of pterosaurs was an elongated, sharp beak, completely devoid of teeth. But 66 million years later, all pterosaurs became extinct as a result of climate change across the planet caused by the fall of a huge meteorite. But only the most progressive group of flying dinosaurs, birds, managed to survive the cataclysm. The largest of them were flightless and even occupied the niche of top predators in some regions. But even among the flyers, there were their giants. They became the masters of the air elements and remain so to this day. About 25 million years ago, a genus of bird called Pelagornis appeared. They lived in Europe, North Africa, and both American continents. The name Pelagornis translates as seabird. In fact, these giants fully lived up to their name. It's believed that their lifestyle coincided with that of the wandering albatross now. This bird has the largest wingspan of any living species. It's up to 3.5 meters. The albatrosses weigh no more than 10 kilograms. The body length of Pelagornis was up to 2 meters, and the wingspan was up to 7.5 meters. They weighed from 20 to 32 kilograms. They had a skull of up to 60 centimeters long. A characteristic feature of these birds were bizarre outgrowths on the inner surface of the beak. These outgrowths vaguely resembled teeth and may have performed similar functions. Pelagornis became extinct about 2 million years ago. Another giant bird, Argentavis, lived in South America. It was first discovered in 1980 in Argentina, which is how it got its name. They lived in these places from 6 to 9 million years ago. With a height of just over 125 centimeters and a body length of about 2 meters, the wingspan of Argentavis was 5 to 6 meters. But the Argentavis were much more massive than Pelagornis. According to some estimates, their body weight could reach up to 70 kilograms. The length of their skull was up to 45 centimeters with a sharp hook-shaped beak. And based on its structure, scientists concluded that Argentavis was an active predator, not a scavenger. It's believed that the basis of its diet were large rodents. Researchers suggest that the bird fell onto a group of rodents from a great height. Then the predator simply swallowed the wounded or stunned animals. In many ways, scientists determined the appearance and habits of Argentavis by comparing it with the Andean condor or harpy eagle. Condors, although scavengers, are considered the most massive flying bird in the world. The weight of their males can reach 15 kilograms, and their wingspan is 3 meters. By studying their behavior, one can understand how such a heavy bird as Argentavis behaved in flight or set up nests. In harpies, females are larger. They can weigh up to 9 kilograms. The wingspan of this forest eagle from South America can be about 2 meters. The harpy is an active predator and is distinguished by great strength and a powerful beak. At one time, it was considered an honorable and dangerous prize among the local Indians, and the farmers simply waged a long war with them. After all, harpies easily dragged away poultry and even dogs. As a result, this predator is now listed in the Red Book. Modern birds, in comparison with their ancestors, are not large in size, and arthropods and reptiles now don't even think of rising high into the sky. But evolution doesn't stand still. Perhaps someday there will be creatures capable of displacing birds from their leading positions and becoming the new masters of the sky. But for now, the sky is increasingly roamed by man-made birds, created by the most dangerous predator, man. We're so grateful to everyone who watches our episodes to the very end. If you're interested in the history of the appearance of other living creatures, we recommend that you pay attention to other videos on the Age of Dinosaurs channel. From them, you'll learn not only about various prehistoric animals, but also about the peculiarities of the development of human society and its relationship with living nature.